All right, so this is going to be video number 3. I'm doing all this all at the same time. And I have little notes so it'll keep me, I can remember things. So we moved to Laredo, Texas when I was 3 years old. Um, it was quite a difference between the house in Carrizo Springs and the one in Laredo, Texas. We, my mother had a cousin that lived in Laredo, and I think uh, she's the one that found that house for rent, uh, like half a block from her house. It was very pretty because the owners had moved from that house to next door. They built a new one, a new house. So that was a really beautiful house. Um, it had a nice yard. I had grass. It was fenced in. We had outside showers because they had kids and kids like to play and they didn't want them to come in dirty. So they would take showers outside before they'd come inside the house. So that was really nice because I really loved it. Practically never used inside showers. I love the outside showers. Um, and they had a beautiful flower garden, huge. And I'd never been around flowers or anything like that. I mean, I lived in Carrizo Springs. It was just dry as heck and only one tree. And the rest is just dirt and stuff, rocks and stuff. So, I I don't remember the move. I don't remember my parents talking about moving or anything. All I know is that I remember being in Laredo, Texas, about 3 years old. It was really, really nice. Right across the street was an elementary school, and across from there was Catholic hospital. I mean, a Catholic church. My mom was Catholic. She loved that. Oh, wow. Her church right there, right across the street. So I was very, very happy there. I would go next door, or, well, yeah, because next door is where they have the flower garden, and just sit there. The flowers were so high, so tall, taller than me. Rabbit ears were my favorite flowers. They were long and beautiful and pastel colors and all that. And I remember one time just sitting there, and I was startled because I heard someone coming, and it was the owner of the properties. Oh, she said, I thought I saw somebody over here. And I said, yeah, hi, you love flowers. Yes, I love flowers. And so she says, this can be your garden. You can play here all day long if you want. You can take all the flowers that you want. Um, just be happy, and if you love flowers, they're here. They were older people, so I think all their kids were married and gone. They never, practically never came outside. I don't think I ever saw her except for that one time. So I had that flower garden that I would go to every day. I had a beautiful time there, and I would plan my day because I wasn't going to school yet. My older sister was 7 years older than me, so she was in school already. I was like an only child all that time. So I'd get up in the morning, have breakfast, and then go play outside, go play, go and, smell the flowers and everything. In the property, they had ant hills. Like I said, I was a tomboy. Well, that's my favorite. My favorite place was just messing with the ants, though I never got bit by the ants. I got bit by bees like 3 times because I used to like to drink water from the faucet, just go like that and drink water. And they stung my face, and I never learned my lessons. I was always going back and doing that. And the scorpions got me a couple of times, maybe 3, 4 times, while I was, around that age. Um, and so that I loved. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, another. I used to love to taste grass, and my dad would tell me, "Don't put any grass in your mouth. You're gonna choke." And all my mom used to tell me, "Nope, in one ear, out the other." So this one time I was outside and I was choking, and there were a lot of people around the house. My mom, my older sister, other people. I don't remember who they were. And I started screaming bloody murder because I put a big, the grass was really thick. I don't know what, there's a name for that grass. Put it in my mouth and I was choking and nobody was helping me. My mom was standing there saying, "I told you not to put a grass in your mouth." So I go like, "I'm choking." She probably said, "No, you're not going to choke with everything." But I felt like it, and all of a sudden my dad came and he pushed people aside. I think it goes like this, and my mom falls back. And he kneels down and grabs me and puts his hand in my mouth and takes the grass out, picks me up and hugs me. I think my dad got really close to me when I was little and I was dying. They never forgot that. And he always protected me and was so concerned that something would happen to me and all that, so. But I remember that little thing with the grass. I don't know if I continued putting grass in my mouth. Maybe not. Maybe I learned my lesson. Oh, and we had, okay, another thing in that house was that the kitchen was a sunken kitchen. And as you went down the stairs and you walked a little bit, in the middle was like a fire pit made out of brick. And it had those domes that they have, for the smoke or whatever, on top. But it had charcoals. It would warm up the kitchen and the house. You could also cook on it and everything. I'd never seen that. Well, yeah, in big houses, like I said, this house belonged to the owners. So it was winter, and the thing was on the charcoals and everything. I remember going from one room running, and there were steps like this going down to the lower level to the kitchen where the pit was, but I flew. I didn't go down the stairs. I was running so fast that I flew. I was going to fall in the pit, in the charcoals face on my face, and my dad saw and ran, put his hands on the charcoals like this, and saved me. Again, the one thing I do remember is that I was fine, but my mom told my dad, "You burn your hands. You burn your hands and your arms. Look at you." And, she was so concerned over him putting Vaseline on his hands and all that stuff. And my dad, he was just looking at me when he first did that. He just held me in his arms, like, he was so scared that something would have happened to me. I was a baby at the time. So, my dad, I mean, he saved my life so many times. I can't even remember. And let's see, what was happening at that time, too? There was a little store like 2 blocks from the house. And I used to love to eat candy and cookies and not as much fruit. You know how kids are. They forget about fruit. They go directly to the candy. So, because my dad was always working and everything, he told my mom, he got me a little book and he put a little nail really low down and put the little book there. And he said to me, "Anytime you want anything from the store, you just take this with you and he will give you whatever you want. He's going to fill it in. And then you bring it home and put it back there again." So I had that little book. I never had to ask Mom for anything. If I felt like I want pop, I would take, because people back there didn't store stock in the house, pop in the house like we do now. If I wanted a pop, I would just take, the little grocery book and take it to the store, get pop and candy and whatever I wanted, and in a little bag, and go back and put the little thing there. Nobody ever questioned me. Nobody ever said, "I think you're buying too much," and or anything like that. But as a result of that, I got lumps in my like grapes, purple in my body, And the doctor told my mom and dad that I was eating too much candy. So my dad said, okay, you learned your lesson. You have all those spots in your body that are going to go away if you stop eating candy. Otherwise, they're going to be there forever. So I'm going to leave it up to you to not eat candy if you want those bumps to go away. So, yes, I learned my lesson and I didn't eat any more candy or not as much. And they did go away. But that was another little incident that I had. And what else happened there? Oh, my older sister was 7 years older than me. So, but she was very gentle, sweet, loving, caring, total little lady, you know. She played the piano, and I would get so jealous when I'd be standing there all dirty, no shoes, a little t-shirt and cutoffs, and I'd see her walking down the sidewalk with patent shoes, beautiful socks, beautiful dress, ribbons in her hair, with her little music book. She was going to her piano lessons, right? Piano. And I would look at her and go, phew, isn't she hot wearing all those clothes? But she was really sweet. Well, one day I was outside. She was coming home from school, I suppose, or something. And I was outside with a little bucket. Had been playing with the ants with a little bucket. And I saw my sister screaming. And I turned to look. She was running, and two sisters were running after her. Help, help. She was going, those girls, I don't know what they wanted to hit her or whatever. So I go like, oh my God. And being so tiny, how do you remember to do things like this? I had a little bucket and I looked at all the ants, the ant hill. The dirt is really soft. So I scooped all the ants like that in dirt and ran back. And as my sister passed me like this, I was waiting for those two girls to all the ants all over me. Ah! They go like, they turn around and they run back. My older sister just looked at me and gave me that little smile like, you're always there for me too. It was really fun. I felt very proud that I saved my sister's life. That was really funny. And then let's see what else. Oh, well, I was born in 1938. By that time, 38, 40, it was like 1941 or 1942. We had the blackouts, the because the war. So we had the blackouts. We had black blinds that when the sirens would go on, everybody had to turn off all the lights and pull those black blinds down. And all the lights went out on the streets and everything. I mean, so I would go outside, and sometimes during the day, when I'd be outside, I would see tons of airplanes. My dad worked at the Naval Air Station. Um, and because at that time, it was a big Naval Air Station in Laredo, Texas. And I would stand there, and it was like a big cloud. It would cover the sun and everything. Tons of planes up in the sky. And my dad was a marshal. He patrolled the area, made sure that, say, if he was patrolling the area and would see a house with their lights on and the blinds up, he would knock on the door and made sure that they followed, all the rules and everything. If not, they would be written up, and I suppose that you would be fined or something because you were putting a lot of people in danger by not following the rules. So he was a marshal. He worked at the Naval Air Station. He worked in the freight department during the day, and during the evening, he worked he was a bartender. And he would come home when people were so poor back then, very little money. He would come home with bags full of money because he was a great bartender. he would say to me, I'd say, "How come you make so much money in tips, Dad?" And he said, "Because I work in the officers club." He said, "And if you remember their name and their drink, when they walk in, they tip you big time." so he we had a lot of money. We lived in a pretty beautiful house. We had more food than we could eat. I had all my beautiful flowers and all my beautiful yard and everything. And then my dad bought a car. He had to walk to the Naval Air Station, and he left at 3 o'clock in the morning because it would take him hours to get there and then hours to get back home. So he spent very little time with us because of that. He would wake us up in the middle of the night. Before he left, he would wake all of us up and hug us and everything before he'd leave for work. Because it was during the war, and you never knew. It would be attacked and bombed and whatever, and he was way pretty far away from the house. And he would walk. But this time he bought a car. It was a beautiful car to me. It smelled new. It was oh so gorgeous. Big sedan. Oh, I forgot the name of it. Maybe I'll remember it in my other. I'll go back and say, oh, this is the first car we had. And it had on the driver's side up front, like a big wheel on the side. Beautiful, all this chrome and everything. And the inside was like velveteen gray. Oh, it smelled beautiful. Well, the first time he brought it home, and that was our car, I sat in the car. Oh, I sat and smelled it and everything, and then they couldn't get me out at night. So my dad had to park it right next to the door. I'm sure he slept right there on the floor because he would just spoil me. That's true. Because I wanted to sleep in the car. And they brought me a pillow and a blanket and rolled the window down, the window next to the door, because he parked it right by the door. And I slept in the new car that night. And then I got over it after a while. But that was, the most wonderful thing that could happen to me. I just loved it. Okay, so that was number 3. So I think I have time for a lot of them today because time's running out. Okay, I'm going to start number 4 in a little bit.